What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank y'all so much for joining me. This being my review on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17, Episode 13. It's my favorite challenge of the season, of this series. It's the Makeover Challenge. I love watching those who are not familiar or not really into the drag scene being put into drag. It's always an amazing transformation for me to see. And so this is always my favorite episode of the season. We start out with reading Lana Geray's message. Of course, she has a very great message on the mirror saying that it was an honor to work with those girls, and I thought that it was great. And I also noticed that Anya had her entire outfit off, so I'm assuming that must have been a hot thing to be wearing or whatever the case may be. But anyway, so we do get to the mini challenge. The mini challenge is called Spill the Tea, where the queens are asked some shady questions about each other, asking, who's going to go home next, who's the biggest beast, and of course Susie Toot was the winner of that category. But anyways, Anya ends up winning the mini challenge. She gets, I think, $2,500 for that. So congratulations to Anya, my girl. Winner of four maxi challenges, by the way, winner of four maxi challenges up to now, and I'm so happy for her. But anyways, so then Rue lets the girls know that their family members, their parents are here. So we first meet Susie Toot's mother. We then get to meet Sam Starr's mother. We also see Jewel Sparkle's father. We see Anya Nerve's father, which I loved Anya's reaction to seeing her father. It's very clear that she has a really close relationship with him, and that's great to see. And then we also have Lexi Love's mother as well. So Sam Star and her mother, they seem to be so close together, and that's always great to see. Sam Star says that she is a mama's boy, and one mama's boy to another. Real recognizes real. Okay, that's how it be. And when it comes to these makeover challenges, I like it this season because it seems like all of the queens had something prepared, had an outfit prepared for their partner, which I always love because when I see makeover challenges over the past couple of seasons, even in the UK or down under, wherever the case might be, sometimes the queen find themselves making an impromptu or sewing an impromptu outfit for their partner, and that's typically when it's someone that they're not familiar with, when it's not an actual family member. Because when it comes to these makeover challenges, they don't always bring family members to the show. Sometimes they're crew members, sometimes they're super fans. Like I think it was in season 12, if I'm not mistaken, they had super fans being made over into drag queens, and so sometimes they had to, make actual outfits for their partners. But clearly in this season, all of the girls had outfits prepared and already made for their partners. So I'm assuming that they had an idea of who was coming, or they actually knew who was coming for the makeover challenge, because all the outfits looked like they were specially made for the person who was wearing them. So that's always a good thing. I loved to see Anya and her relationship with her father. It's so interesting for me to see an older Black man who has been locked up before, being so loving and so caring of his gay son. It almost brought a tear to my eye. It was so beautiful to see all the support that was in the room. And it was also interesting to see the dynamic between Susie Toot and her mother. It seemed like Susie Toot's mother was a little anxious about being there. It didn't seem like she was comfortable with being in the space. I don't know if it was the cameras. I don't know if it was being around people that she wasn't familiar with. Although Susie Toot, her son, was there, it was just a little off-putting initially. And then Susie Toot went on to say, while she was doing her mother's makeup, that she hasn't always had the closest relationship with her mother, and of course, not all parent-child relationships are the same, but thankfully. It was great to see Lexi Love and her mother. Lexi Love's mother actually using the correct pronouns for Lexi Love, calling her she and her, and Lexi Love was just saying that that's never happened before, and so I'm glad that Lexi was able to feel that validation from her mother. So I thought that was amazing and great. We had La Roche on the judging panel for this for this episode, and then the guest judge. I don't remember what the guest judge's name was because I had no idea who she was, and so I'm not even going to go back to the episode to try to see what her name was. She was there, okay. So Lexi Love and her mother are first up. They had kind of like a Valentine's Day type of theme with hearts all over their outfits, and in the back, Lexi Love's mother was showing a little badonkadonk back there. Okay, it was looking good. I have not been the biggest fan of Lexi Love's runway looks. But they were pretty. The outfits were pretty. They didn't look bad. They didn't look homemade. They looked actually professionally made. So I loved seeing that. Then we got Sam Starr and her mother. Sam Starr actually had my favorite outfit of the entire episode. It was, harkening back to her country aesthetic, and I love the fact that Sam Starr had her mother in the unitard, in the onesie, or whatever it is that you call it. She was showing a little humps in the back. I'm not sure if Sam Starr's mother was padded or not, but whether she was padded or not, I loved seeing the shape of her back. Her posterior looked a number one. It looked amazing. Sam Starr, once again, she had my favorite look on the runway. Then we get Susie Toot and her mother. Susie Toot and her mother have this kind of monochromatic, cat. So no, more like mouse ears, and it was in black and white, and this sort of kind of what Susie Toot's aesthetic is. Susie Toot has not had my favorite one-way looks this season, but I'm just not the biggest fan of Susie Toot's drag in general, especially the first couple of weeks, because the first couple of weeks I was hating Susie Toot's makeup, absolutely hating it, but it seems like she's evolved with her makeup as time has gone on. So I don't know if she got some advice from some of the other queens, or because I don't remember any of the judges mentioning her makeup or the reason why her makeup looked the way that it did. But I'm glad that Susie Two's makeup has gotten better as time has gone on. Then we get Jules Sparkles and her father. They have, and I thought Susie Toots' outfit for her and her mother was okay. It was just okay. It's not my favorite. Although La Roche absolutely loved it on the runway. Said it looked like it came straight off of Fashion Week runway. I thought it looked okay. It's not something that we haven't seen before because I can't remember. I think it was the black and white runway. I thought it looked kind of similar to her black and white runway. But anyways, then we have Jill Sparkles coming out with her father. In these large coats that gave the queens and the queen and her father no shape. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jules Sparkle's outfit. To be honest, it was probably my least favorite. And when you have an outfit like that, that sort of kind of resembles a potato sack in a way, but it just had fur on it. The judges are going to call that out because we can't see your shape. We can't see what you actually look like. You just kind of look like you're wearing a bag of some sort. It's like a potato sack. It just doesn't flatter the body. I did like the hair, the swoop in the front and the pixie cut, and I thought the hair and the makeup looked amazing. I just was not the biggest fan of the outfits. Then we get to Anya Nerve and her father. Of course, Anya Nerve being my favorite contestant on this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. I was not a fan of Anya Nerve's outfits. I'm not. I really can't put my finger on what Anya Nerve's actual aesthetic is because none of her runway looks really scream on your nerve. You know what I'm saying? When you see Sam Starr coming down the runway, you know that's Sam Starr. When you see Susie Toot coming down the runway, you know that was Susie Toot. When we saw Lydia Butthole Collins coming down the runway, we know that was a bit Lydia Butthole Collins look. Hell, when Corey King came down the runway, we knew that was Corey King. But as far as Anya is concerned, it seems as though she just got different designers to make her different looks to be able to fit the brief for whatever the category of the runway was. And so it's like because For me, I would love to see Anya as like an around the way girl, or a Banji girl. You know what I'm saying? Banji, which is kind of terminology from the ballroom scene. Banji girl is like one of those ghetto girls who's just from around the way. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would love to see from Anya. The closest that she ever got to that was on the Nails runway for the Snatch Game episode. That was my favorite On Your Nerve look because that's what she gives with her personality. And I wish that her looks would match her personality. So hopefully, as time goes on Your Nerve will be able to have more of a direction when it comes to her looks. But that nails look was everything to me. Just with the short shorts and the spray paint T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? That was your around the way girl, had the nails in the wig, like everything like that. And I did not enjoy the wigs that she had her and her father wearing. I will say though, however, Anya Nerve's father looks a lot like Anya Nerve in drag, even though Anya Nerve's face is more round, whereas her father's face is more long. The makeup really brought their looks together, and I was not the biggest fan of their wigs either. I can't really put my finger on what the look was supposed to be. So automatically I knew that it was going to be Jewel Sparkles and On Nerve in the bottom two. However, deservedly so, Sam Star ends up winning the challenge. She definitely deserved that. So now Sam Star has 3 wins, which I'm very happy for Sam Star. I completely expect for her to get into the final four. Anya Nerve and Jill Sparkles end up in the bottom two, which was, understandable. I agree with that decision that was made by RuPaul. And so Anya Nerve and Jill Sparkles are lip syncing to One Thing by A. Marie. I will have to admit, I feel as though Jill Sparkles did win that lip sync. That's not to say that Anya didn't do a good job. It's just that Jules looked a little more natural on the stage, whereas Anya seemed as though she was just kind of sporadic with her movement, or kind of just doing things off the cuff. Like she really didn't have much of anything prepared for the lip sync, whereas Jules Sparkles seemed as though, although Jules Sparkles did split, like, I think 2 or 3 times during that lip sync, and I didn't think that all the splits were necessary per se, but I feel as though Jewel Sparkles actually did win that lip sync. And I have a feeling that RuPaul just did not want to send Anya Nerve home because she does have 4 wins under her belt. And I felt like she didn't think like it would make sense for Anya to go home at that point. Although Jewel Sparkles did win that lip sync. Just being honest with you guys about that. But RuPaul's announces that there's so much love in the room with the parents being there that no one's going home. So I'm so glad that Anya Nerve is still there. Now, next week, when we see the preview for the next episode, RuPaul says that, at least one of you will be going home. So I've been thinking this entire season whether they're going to have a final 4 or a final 3. And I have a sinking feeling that it's going to end up being a final 3. And for me, I think the final 3 that makes the most sense would be Susie 2, Anya Nerve, and Sam Star. To me, that's the most deserving final 3 of this season. I haven't been the biggest fan of Lexi Love. I honestly don't see Lexi Love necessarily as a drag queen per se. I do appreciate her femininity and I do appreciate what she brings to the show. However, the whole drag thing is just not connecting for me. Jules Sparkles to me is just not on the same level as those other girls. Although she's had great outfits, and although she's done great on the comedy challenges, I just don't see her on the same level as Sam Star and Anya Nerve. I'm kind of still on the fence about Suzy too. Like, for me personally, like she's just not my style of drag queen. I just don't enjoy her drag that much. However, she's been doing very well throughout this entire competition, and therefore she does deserve to be in the final 4 or the final 3. And so if it is a final 4, I would not mind it being Susie 2, Anya Nerve, Sam Star, and and Jules Sparkles. I feel like I will put Jules Sparkles in before I will put Lexi. I just see Jules as more of a drag queen, at least in my opinion. But let me know you guys what you guys think about this episode 13 of season 17 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. It takes less than a second to mash that thing, so go ahead and mash it. it. Leave me a thumbs up on this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm creating for my channel. Also, be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but not least, share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. This is Jonathan from Faithful Warrior Ministries signing off. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, y'all.